that a large number of people on the planet actually remember Nelson Mandela having, let's say, died back in the late 80s, when Nelson Mandela actually died only recently. He had been in jail for many years, like 28 years, I believe, but he hadn't died. So anyway, all sorts of examples are put out there. People are making videos claiming that something, how they remembered it one way their whole lives, now all of a sudden it's changed. Lines from movies, insignias, logos for companies, Looney Tunes, is it TOO or TUNES? Well, when I first saw this, I immediately said, well, what this seems to be is a prime example of why people should never trust memory. Now, having studied criminal justice, I know that the mind is absolutely fallible when it comes to memory. We don't. People seem to think that memory is like a replaying of a camera, but it's not. It's reconstructed memory is what it's called. And if you ask any law enforcement officer, they will tell you that eyewitness testimony is the most unreliable form of testimony because of the fact that people's memories are so poor. And what we wind up doing is we actually edit our memories. We don't know it, we don't want to admit it, we don't like the fact that that's true, but it is a scientific fact. So when I first saw this whole Mandela thing, and I watched a great many videos on it, and many of the people, to me, seemed like ordinary people. They weren't crazy, but they looked like ordinary people who were trying to make heads or tails out of this whole Mandela effect. So I then decided to make a video on my YouTube channel about the Mandela effect. And I offered that same explanation. I tried to make, offer a credible, rational, scientific explanation for what it could be, as opposed to just assuming everything keeps changing on us and that the universes, there are multi-universes and we quantum jump from one universe into another. Now, look, I love quantum physics as a subject, and I do believe that we could be living in a simulation. Elon Musk feels the same, and quantum physicists today all seem to agree that the evidence in quantum mechanics and quantum physics, particle physics, points to the fact that we are living in some type of simulation. So I'm very much open to that idea. It's a theory, obviously it has not been proven, but when some greater minds, far greater than I, believe something, then I'm one who wants to take a second look at it. So Elon Musk even came out recently and said he believes we're living in a highly advanced simulation. So I made the video on YouTube, and boy, did I get a lot of hate comments. Now, those of you who know me know that I am consider myself and try my best every day to be polite and to never treat anybody contrary to how I would hope people would treat me. That, I believe, is the way we all should live each and every day. So I obviously didn't answer any of these hateful comments, but I was accused of being a member of the Illuminati. I was accused of being a government shill. Of course, these things were... I was actually laughing at them, but then some people wrote me some very personal notes, and I read the personal ones. They weren't hateful. There were some in there that were just trying to appeal to me, saying, well, Mr. Haggerty, you actually are what you don't realize, but you were living in a different time frame. Because so many of the things that they would explain as having been changed, I remember them being the way they always were. So, and I do have a very good memory because I have a photographic memory. But I said, well, let me be open-minded. Let me hear what these people have to say. Well, then two crazy things happened this past weekend. Number one, David Seaman. If you don't know who he is, check him out. Follow him. He's on Twitter, and he has his own YouTube channel. He is a journalist. He used to work for the Huffington Post and Business Insider, and he was let go back in August by the Huffington Post because he was questioning Hillary Clinton's health. So he is a very open-minded, very grounded, very well-reasoned, very highly respected young man. He's only about 31, but I love him now. I love his channel. I love all the news he puts out there. I love the way he thinks. I think he's great. So he puts out a video and about the Mandela effect, and I'm expecting that he's going to say that, well, the Mandela effect is... based upon memory reconstruction, our memories are fallible. I figured he was going to take the same exact approach as I, meaning that he would like to put forth a reasoned, rational explanation for the Mandela effect. Turns out he's actually fascinated by it, and he wants to start researching it, because he claims that even he finds some of these things to be suspicious, meaning things that he remembered one way seem to have changed. So I said to myself, wow, David Seaman. I said, okay, well, that's interesting if David's going to start getting to the bottom of this. He says, I'm going to get to the bottom of this one way or another. And then I had my first Mandela experience. And this is great. Now, those of you who are, let's say, my age or older, you all know who Sally Field is. And we all remember back in 1984 at the Oscars. 83, 84? I don't know, maybe it's another Mandela effect, but not important. It was back in the early 80s at the Oscars. She received an Oscar, and you all remember, because it was parodied, I'd say, by basically everyone, Saturday Night Live, every TV show, every politician, every comedian parodied her acceptance speech for the Oscar. Do you remember what she said? Well, I do. As far as I'm concerned, she said, "You like me. You really like me." Remember that? How she poured out that emotion? So somebody put up a Mandela Effect video on YouTube this weekend pointing out that that was a Mandela Effect. And I expected to see a video of her saying, "You like me, you really like me," because that's exactly what I remember, and that's what everybody remembers. Well, if you watch the video now, this is crazy. She doesn't say that at all. I mean, she says, "You like me." But she does. It's what she says next that will throw you. Now, look. Am I saying that that's proof, now that I've experienced it, all of a sudden I believe in the Mandela Effect? No, I'm not. Obviously, I'm open-minded, but I will say that something odd is going on out there. And some people are saying that this is a great awakening taking place. Now, let me explain what I mean by that. First of all, if, in fact, we do live in a simulation, if, in fact, the quantum physicists are correct, and Nick Bostrom, the philosopher from Oxford who wrote that paper, a position statement regarding our being a simulation, Elon Musk, and so many other people who work with particle physics do believe in the proposition that we are living in some type of advanced simulation. If that's the case, then whoever created the simulation can change anything, any of the data points in the simulation at will. Now, you can call that creator God, you can call it Allah, you can call whatever you want to refer to the creator as, but something created all of this, something somewhere. Whatever it is, hey, listen, it's bigger than I can't put a name or a meaning on it. I just submit to it. But one thing I know is that we are all of it, which is why I love humanity, because you can't hate somebody when that person is like you, that we're of one soul or of one mind, we're all of one spirit, we're all from the same source. Now, some of us may do things that are wrong, but we're all human beings, and I believe that when we want to be loved, we have to love, and we have to spread peace and honesty and joy. We have to be everything we want to see in other people. We have to be that to others every day. So, I consider myself a spiritual person. I don't go to church, but that's because I don't consider that really part of it. For some people that works, but for me, my spirituality is within. It's my connection with all that is. It's my love of humanity, my love of life, my love of everything alive, from the trees to insects, to animals, whatever it may be. I am thankful every day. I walk around with a feeling of thanksgiving, being thankful for life, for everything around me. And that has an amazing effect on us. And I think some people are saying that the Mandela effect could be the creation's way of showing us that, hey guys, there's something else going on here. And that's exactly what David Seaman said. There's something else going on here. Something else is at work. Now, there are other videos on my YouTube channel that are about my unexplained experiences, of which I have had many, many unexplained experiences. My problem is, though, I've always been such a rational, logic person. I've always, logical person, I mean. I've always kind of called myself like Mr. Spock. That's why Spock's my favorite character on Star Trek, because I love his logic. And that has always been me. Rational, scientific, logical. If it can't be proven, if it's subjective, it's only a theory, well, I've begun to change my point of view. Again, can't prove these things, but I will tell you that there is something going on out there. Now, when it comes to this Mandela effect, ask people, if you don't know what Sally Field said, if you don't remember it, ask older people, when I say older, my age and older, who were around. You have to have been there because it was such a big thing at the time that it was parodied by everyone. And it was Sally Field when she received her Oscar. And all I know is she said, "You like me. You really like me." Well, apparently she didn't, according to the new reality timeline, because you could watch that video on YouTube of her acceptance speech, and if you're like me, your mind's going to be blown. So maybe that was meant to happen for me. I don't know. I have no idea. Who knows with these things? But it makes life fascinating, and I'm a student of life. I love to study life. I love the unexplained. I love just imagining what could be behind this thing that we call life and creation. What's it all about? Why was it created? Why are we here? What are we here for? Well, I do believe whatever created it, love is the essence. And it's all about love. But remember, because of yin yang, you need contrast. So you have to have evil to understand good and love. You see, we have to have sadness to know happiness. We have to have cold to know hot. So that's necessary. But we get to choose each and every day what side of the coin we're going to be on. We are going to be on the good side, the loving side, the peace side. That's the side I want to be on, and I make those choices every day. And since I've begun to do that in the last 10 to 15 years, my life changed completely. I feel I vibrate on a far higher level, and of course when your vibration changes, everything you attract in life changes. So I don't attract any negativity anymore because I don't believe in negativity. I completely banished it from me. So I love everybody, therefore I attract love. I have wonderfully marvelous friends, perfect health, happiness, joy, safety, security. I have all of those things because I vibrate on those things. I don't worry or keep my mind focused upon lack or failure or fear or anxiety like so many people do. So I feel that the kingdom of heaven is within because it's within ourselves and that we can change and because we have the power to choose what it is we think about, and at any point in time we can create a whole new life for ourselves. So this Mandela effect could very well be a sign to humanity to come together, that we, the collective, we, the one, we, the human beings of this planet, we have the ability to change things because we have the creative power within us. But more important, let us learn to love one another. If there's nothing else we ever do,